Good evening, everyone. It's a very emotional moment, and I'm extremely honored and proud to be recipient of the Freedom of Speech Award 2025. This recognition comes at a critical time for my country, when Georgia wants transitional democracy, with the ambition to join European family and find secure place under Euro-Atlantic umbrella, is moving drastically towards autocracy, abandoning traditional pro-Western foreign policy and isolating itself from the Western world. This honor is not only mine, it belongs to a team of professional journalists, fact-checkers, disinformation researchers who are on the front line of hybrid warfare, and by defending media ecosystem, they are protecting information integrity and democracy, not only in Georgia, but across the region. This honor also belongs to all freedom fighters in Georgia who believe in free society and liberal democracy and have been protesting in the streets for more than 7 months since the government announced its decision to postpone EU association talks until 2028. In December 2023, Georgia proudly celebrated EU candidate status, hoping to consolidate its democracy, strengthen institutions, and benefit from the integration into a European family, built on shared values. However, since then, the Georgian government has introduced at least 70 repressive legislative pieces targeting the civil society actors, media, and these legislative pieces are inconsistent with European values. This sudden U-turn in the pro-Western agenda towards a Kremlin-style autocratic legislation reminded us what was happening in neighboring Russia after adoption of similar legislation, targeting journalists, activists, and other representatives of civil society receiving funding from Western donors. And they were declared as enemy of the country and labeled as national traitors. When masked strangers dressed in black vandalized our office with posters calling us traitors and pseudo-liberal fascists, with no place in the country, the law had not even been passed in the parliament. Such targeted attacks, which we had previously seen in Russian documentaries, were not carried out against our organization alone, but other partner NGOs and journalists. Moreover, the initiation of foreign agent law suspiciously coincided with a wave of intimidation, threatening phone calls to us and our family members, also abusive emails with rape threats against fact-checkers after the election. None of these cases have been investigated by law enforcement bodies, which clearly demonstrates the intention behind the new legislation and further proves that institutions are not protecting us from the state-orchestrated brutalities. Georgia, once safe place for exiled journalists, is no longer a secure place for those from Russia, Belarus, and Azerbaijan who previously found refuge here. Additionally, Western investigative journalists or reporters covering the ongoing pro-democratic and pro-European protests in Georgia are being denied entry into Georgia without justification. Today, I represent a country where the leaders of the pro-Western opposition parties, one female journalist, dozens civil activists and protesters from pro-democratic, pro-European rallies are jailed. The next targets are civil society organization leaders. The Anti-Corruption Bureau launched investigation into the funding of 8 NGOs, including ours, based on Facebook posts depicting joint statement of watchdogs criticizing the repressive legislation and violence against journalists. The only crime I and my colleagues commit on a daily basis is fulfilling our watchdogging function by scrutinizing actions of government institutions, holding them accountable in order to ensure the basic principle of democracy, checks and balances. Publicly criticizing the government and receiving Western funding for research, education, resilience building and empowering the public by informing them are considered crimes only in dictatorships and autocracies. In 1921, Georgia was occupied by Red Army, bringing an end to the short-lived Democratic Republic of Georgia that had one of the most progressive constitutions of its time, enshrining European values, human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law, and human rights. Today, country is captured by an oligarchy with the aim to establish autocracy and abandon values of the 1921 Georgian Constitution, the values later acknowledged in the Lisbon Treaty and the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights. Only an informed and resilient society is capable of defending these shared values and the legal tradition of 1921, which we all should be proud of. I strongly believe that through our united efforts and consistent actions, we can safeguard democracy and resist the creeping authoritarianism that seeks to silence us. Thank you once again for this award and acknowledgement.